Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. What we're going to be doing today is actually building a project from start to finish. What we're going to be building is building a to-do list app, and I'm going to be using JavaScript and React to build it. It's just going to have a front end, not really going to have a back end. And I figured this would be a great exercise because, you guys can watch me build a project. You're going to see that it doesn't take that long. And then you guys can kind of get some ideas from this project. You can look through, see the code, and just kind of get a feel for what it's like to build your first project. This is a very simple project that I'm going to be building, and I hope you guys enjoy. I'm going to do it from start to finish. And let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of the project, of my code, of just the way I handle things. If you like the content, feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you see something I did wrong or just have anything to add to the conversation. And yeah, so let's get started. So the way I like to start these things is kind of, scoping out the project and kind of planning out what we're going to be building. So, we're going to have to-do list app, right? So ignore the JS pane. It's just the first thing I could find. So what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna have like basically a list, right? I guess well, let's start from the most basic. We're gonna have like a text box where you can kind of add, right? You can add text, add to-do list items to a list. So here we'll have a list of items. And this is kind of the most basic version, right? At first, this list is going to be empty. But then once we type in here and we click plus, it'll add an item to the list. It'll add an item to the list. Then it'll add another item. And then we should have the ability to delete any item from the list as well. We'll start off with this. And then if we want to, we'll kind of add more features later, like editing. But basically, we want to be able to add and delete items to the list, right? So I can see a couple of components that I already have to build. Just thinking of React, I can see one component for the list, right? So the list component and one component for an item in the list. So this is kind of a basic overview. I mean, it's not that complicated of an app. So yeah, let's just get started. So first we have to create our project, right? So I basically made a directory called React project. And the first thing you want to do when you want to work in React, especially if you're a beginner and you're learning how to code, you just want to use this type of command called create React. It basically just creates it's called create React app actually, and it just basically it creates like a sample project, just the front end side, no database or backend, just for you to work with React, and it just prepares a project for you. So it's a very simple way to just get started using React. So once you run it, so it'll just take a bit of time to run, and then once it's done, we'll continue. All right, so now that it's done, you can look at your directory and you'll see that it made a new directory inside there. So if we just go inside, we'll see a couple of interesting things. So we have a README, which is for GitHub, for if you want to tell people how to use your app. We have node modules, which is for anything we install, any kind of packages we install, they'll be in here. And package.lock and package.json basically reference those. And then let's see what's inside public. So public just has a couple of index.html, yeah, it just has the HTML and some logos, and source is where we're going to be spending most of our time. So this is where the fun stuff is. So the first thing you want to do is kind of make sure that you've run this command and then open up, your favorite text editor. Mine is Visual Studio Code. So let me just open it up. And here it is, right? So source is what we're going to be working with. Index.js is where everything gets initiated. So you see app here. This is app.js. So everything kind of rests in index.js. And what we're going to do is we're going to create our own components to kind of make this work. And we're going to add different functions to them, so you can add, so you can delete. And it's going to be really awesome. So if we go back here, there's basically a couple of things that we're going to want to be able to track, right? So in our app component, so the first thing we want to do is, actually add the list into our state, right? So our app component is what's going to be keeping track of all of our states. And so the state of our app in React is basically just where everything is stored. It's where all the data is stored locally for the app. And so in our case, all that's going to consist of is really the list of tasks you have to do, right? What I can do here, I guess, yeah, I can do task 1, task 2, and task 3. So we kind of have a basic small list, super basic stuff. So now we can actually build our to-do list component. So I'm going to be, let's see, to-do list.js. And here, all that's going to happen is it's just going to be displaying our list. So the first thing is to just import React. So now in here, what I can do is actually make my to-do list, right? So if I pass down the props, whoops, then what I can do, get the list and then return it. So props.list.map, and then I can do item, and then I think it's this. Yeah, and then I can return my to-do list item with description equals item. And then I think that's it, because it's returning one to do. And then it's returning, yeah, it's mapping over the entire list. Whoops. Over there. And then what I can do in here is I can return div, and then I can return the list. So basically what's happening here is I'm getting the list from the parent component, which is the app.js, right? Because here I'm going to be calling, I have the list here, and then I'm going to be putting it in here. So then I have the list. So now I have to make this to-do component. New file, to-do.js. Now in to-do, I don't think there's much to do here. Get it? So in to-do, so I have props, and then, let's see. So I have description. So I'm using description here. I think all I can do is just return div. Then I have to do props.description. And then that should be it, right? Oh, and then what I can do here is export to do, export default to do. So I have my app.js, which has a list, which is right here. And then I have the list, which maps through and returns a ton of items. And this list, each item just shows the description. Right. So now I think all I have to do is import to-do list from to-do list, and then just put it in here. I don't think I need this header. And now we can kind of see what's happening. So to-do list cannot be imported. Is it still running? Oh, okay, I actually have to export it. So maybe it's not default, maybe it's just to-do list. How do I export? I thought it was just export. Maybe I can just do this. Would that work? Yes. Awesome. So imports, then up here, I actually need to import to do from to do. And then I'm guessing here I'm just gonna have to export. No, cannot set property state of undefined. Okay, cool. Cool, so it's not working right now, but if I pass list equals list to the props, what we can see is boom, we have the 3 tasks. So guys, this is what my app is looking like right now. I have the state, which has the list of all the tasks. Then I just have the to-do list component being called. I have my to-do list component right here. I have my to-do component over here. And what we're basically doing right now is just, showing these tasks. So now what we want to do basically is be able to delete, right? So from here, so handle delete equals index. We want to be able to delete based on our index, right? And I guess this wouldn't go here. This would go in here because we have to pass it down and change the list, right? Because the state is in the app.js file, we actually have to make the function here because we're going to be passing it down to the child components. And then from there, we're going to be calling this function, which will bubble up and change the state at the top. And then all those changes will reflect to all the components, right? So we have, we want to delete the element of the array at the index that it's at, right? So I think the first thing is we want to make a new array. So new array equals, and then we want to take what we have now in the state, and then we want to basically remove a new array. I think it's, I have it right here, index 1. This will remove the item at the index from the array. It'll remove 1 item. And then we can set state list equals, or what is it like? So list is new array. So we have the ability to delete an item now. And what I'm going to do is remove will be this.handle delete. And then what I'm going to do here is pass it on to the to-do. So I'm going to do remove equals props dot remove. So now these will have it. And then I'm going to have in the actual item component, what I could do, I guess, is I can add a button. So now what I can do here is just have a button, class, I can do delete, and then on click, this is the tricky part. I think we have to just do props.remove and then props.id. So let's see what will happen. Aha. So right now is just removing. Okay, I think we're using this ID wrong. So what we can do here is, so I think the reason why they're not deleting properly is because we're not actually assigning them an index. So I think when we're mapping, what I can do is use the index here. And then kind of when I'm doing that, I can do ID equals index. And then this ID will be here. So if I remove 3, remove 1, remove 2. Cool. So now we can actually delete, which is really good. But what we want to do, so we can remove 3 tasks. What we want to do is actually add. So now we're going to be working on adding. So I can do submit form .js. Let's just delete that. So what we can do here is we want to, first things first, import React, whatever, all this garbage. And then we wanted to basically be able to add items to the list, right? That's the whole point of this. So let's see, I think we're gonna need our own state here. So I can do state text, is this. At the beginning, our state is just, the text is just going to be nothing. And then I'm going to have a handle submit, which is going to handle the submission of the form, right? So it's default. I always add this. Yeah, so what prevent default does is just basically prevents the page from refreshing once you actually submit the form. So we want that because if it refreshes, then we lose all of our data, right? So once that's done, we want to be able to this.props.add item, and then if we submit that, we want to use the states. So this.state.text. So we're gonna have to pass down this add item event or add item function all the way down to here from app.js, right? And then we're gonna want to reset this.setState text. We're gonna want to reset after this. Yeah, we're gonna set it. So we're gonna reset it to nothing. So now here, what we're gonna want to do is just use a form, right? We want to be able to set a form. So form on submit equals on submit. I'm gonna use handle submit. So this dot handle submit. And then basically I want to have the input, right? So I'm going to have input. Then I want to have input type equals text, class name equals input. I think I have a placeholder. Will be enter item. The value of this will be this.state.text. And then on change, what we're gonna do is event. So what you have to do is event. Yeah, there you go. What we're gonna do is when it changes, we're gonna set the state, right? So all we have to do is this.setState text is event, I think it's the target.value, right? Yeah, that gets you the value of the actual form you submit. So right here. And the basically what we're gonna want is the button too, right? So we're gonna want, sorry, there you go, that'll make everything disappear. And then we're gonna want the button. With what class name, button, and then all we're gonna want to do is just have a submit, right? So now what we're gonna want to add is the add item. So we're gonna want to add it to here, right? So add item, we'll just do const array equals, so I want to get the current array, and then array dot concat item, and this dot set state list array. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the old array, adding an item, and then set state to the new array. So add item equals this dot add item. Right, it's very simple, guys. The majority of React is just you make a function and then you pass it down. The hard thing to understand is how everything works when you pass the information down to the child components and vice versa. You can do it the other way around. It's very tricky though. Ideally, what you want to do is have a one-way state, a one-way flow of data, which is from top to bottom. So it goes from the list to each item, and then to the submit form list too, right? So add item. So now I want to actually import the submit form component. And then what we can do is submit submit form add item equals this dot add item. Then here I have that. I think I have to export default submit form so we can actually use it. I think we should be good, guys. Submit form is not exported. All right, how about this? So, task 1, task 2, task 3. So nothing actually gets added, and we can only remove. Once you refresh, okay, cool. So it's not working yet. Let's see. So now it's not working, so let's just try to debug. What happens if we submit? So it actually does submit. I can see that it goes through this, so that's good. And then this props on form submit is passed from app.js on form submit equals this add item, add item. So it does to-do list doesn't actually have anything. So the state of the submit form does get updated. Right? But the state of the to-do list, the to-do list uses this.state.list. So as long as this state doesn't change, nothing's actually going to get displayed. So we just have to figure out why it's not adding. So I've kind of modified it a bit. So all the add item does right now is it basically just sets the state to the list with the item. I'm not sure why it wasn't working before, but when I tried this, it does seem to be working. So what you can see now is we have an enter item, we have a submit button. So if I do laundry, I can add laundry, I have homework, I have to film a YouTube video, then I have to record and make my bed, whatever. That's the thing, we can add all this. And then these buttons, I'm not sure why they look like this. I really don't have any CSS, but really what I want to stress with this video is that it doesn't have to look nice, guys. When you're just learning and when you want to learn how to code, it doesn't have to look nice. Look at my little side project I just made, right? It looks like shit. It has no CSS, it has no artwork, no nothing, but it works. I can add as many as I want, and then when I want to delete it, I can also delete. And then I can do homework again, or bed, whatever, homework. And I can delete them all. Now, one thing you do have to remember is that if you do refresh, you lose all the state. Now, there are ways of persisting the data after you refresh, but that's something we'll decide on another video. But yeah, guys, I wanted to kind of just show you how easy it is to make a side project. It doesn't have to be Facebook. It doesn't have to be Airbnb. You can just kind of, if you want to learn how to code, you can just get on and do this. It doesn't have to be that hard. And something simple like this will help you so much on your journey of learning how to code, right? So let's just go back and kind of go over what we added. We have our app component, which has the state and has a list. Then we have a delete function, which removes an item from the list. Then we have an add function that adds an item to the list. And what we've basically done is created 3 components, right? So we have a to-do list component that kind of has the list and just returns all the items, right? And then we have the items, which are just the description, and each one has a button that you can click on and then delete, right? And then the submit form is basically to add an item to the list. What it is it's just a form. We keep track of the state of what's in the form in this actual component. And then when we actually want to add the item to the list, we use a function that was passed down from app.js. You can see that here, submit form, on form submit, what we have is this .add item. And then in the submit form, we have on, where is it? On submit, we do this .handle submit. So when you click it, it runs this. This basically, this uses this .props.on form submit, which is passed down from here. And it uses the text. And then it resets the text, right? We set the state to whatever is in here. So we have so on change of this form, we set the state of this component. And then when we want to submit, we pass on that state to the function we were using. So guys, you can see that it's not that complicated. What this results in is right here, like I showed before. And yeah, that's really all it takes. So guys, I hope you guys really have enjoyed this video. What is it, around an hour long? I've been kind of coding on this, and I really have completed it in an hour, right? So what you have to understand is it's really not that complicated, and you can try guys. I guarantee you, if you try and code this project, you will have some issues. Obviously, there will be some bugs that come up and you won't get some things to work. But if you can successfully do this, then you're really on a good trajectory and a good course. I would try to, make it look nicer, or try to add some different types of functionality to this project. But as a starting point, this is a great place to start. I just wanted to show you guys that it doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be Facebook. It doesn't have to be Twitter. You can just make a little to-do list. So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do like the content, feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you want me to do this in the future. If this video can get to 50 likes, that'll be a good indication that you guys like this video, and I'll make more. This is kind of just, I wanted to try this kind of content out to see if you guys would like it, and I really think it came out okay. I think this is a valuable thing to do, and I do plan on releasing more little projects in the future. I'm also thinking of starting to stream on Twitch of me just, working. And I think I'm going to do longer form streams where I complete multiple projects and then kind of condense it down to a YouTube video and post it there. So guys, really hope you've enjoyed this video. I had a fun time making it. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, have a good day.